In today's video, we're going to be going through some customizable and more advanced formatting options and ultimately how to create one of these charts and dashboards. So what I'm going to do really quick is I'm just going to switch roles, and this is to show you some of the best practice charts that come preloaded inside of your iCharts instance. The way this works is that we've created a bunch of saved searches that you can actually use to drag and drop the fields that you want in order to populate a chart. So now, the way that we actually go about and create a chart is the entire experience is actually driven from the iCharts tab. If I go to the iCharts tab, which can be provisioned to you by your NetSuite administrator, I can go to Data Visualization and click Create New. What this does is it opens the iCharts Data Loader tool, which allows me to select my data source. What I can do is I can do a NetSuite Save Search, a merged data set, a summarized Excel spreadsheet, a Google spreadsheet, or I can add data manually. The merged data set is a particularly interesting feature because it actually allows you to amalgamate two different saved searches onto one chart. You of course have to join these by using a common field, so like a date or somebody's name, something like that. As long as you're comparing apples to apples, the mashup chart should mash up your data set. But for the purposes of this video, just going to use one saved search for now. What I can do is click on that, and that opens this little window right here. I can select the record type of my saved search. I'm going to choose transaction. And what this does is it then allows me to select the saved search from my drop-down. I am sure that many of you have lots of saved searches inside of your NetSuite, as this account does as well. And I'm going to choose this preferred search transaction. And what you can actually do is you can just enter in the saved search ID right here, and the tool is actually smart enough to go in and find the chart inside of your NetSuite. Once I have the saved search that I want, I can click Create Chart. So now we are in the iCharts Studio, and this is where you can actually use the fields from your saved search to simply drag and drop the pivots that you want to do on the chart. And I'm actually going to show you exactly how to do that right here. So you can see that we got a bunch of saved search fields right here. I can actually pick the saved search field that I want, and I'm actually curious about how my sales reps are doing on their transactions. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to grab my sales rep field and just drag and drop it right here. And you'll notice that now it adds a little sales rep blue button at the top of my screen. What I can do is I click into this sales rep button here, and you'll see it has a list of all of the sales reps that are existing inside of the saved search. So I'm going to select all my sales reps. I'm not going to select the none. I'm also going to sort these by value, and then I'm going to click Make Changes. So now what happens is we're grouping all of the transactions of these sales reps by the individual sales rep who did these transactions. And of course from here the chart is very formattable. I can basically make it a little bit taller, make it so I can fit those names a little bit better on the screen. And there we go. You can see the beginning, a semblance of an actual chart. But this is just one of the many dimensions that iCharts has. We actually have 4. This is the label axis, sort of the primary dimension with which we're doing our pivot. But the other dimension that we can do is also called the value. What I can do is click inside of here where it says Select Measure, and this determines the metric that I'm actually going to be using to populate my chart. So I can use the dollar amount of the transactions, I can use the average selling price of the transactions. Any numerical value inside of the saved search can be used as a numerical field inside of the chart. I'm actually just going to stick with the amount, and now that I have the amount, I can click Make Changes, and the chart will update just to say that I've selected that particular amount. What I can now do is incorporate some of that extra level pivoting inside of this chart. And the way I do that is I can go to this Variables tab right here that's inside of this Chart toolbox, and this brings me my list of saved search fields. What I can now do is select any one of these category-based fields, like the sales rep, the opportunity status, one of these things that has actual text inside of it. And I can actually choose to break down these bars by that saved search field and the values inside of that field. And the one I'm going to choose, I'm going to choose opportunity status. I can actually take this and drag and drop it just like I did for the sales rep. And now it adds a little button that says all opportunity statuses. From here, I can click inside. It expands another window, and this is our third dimension, the compare, which is like another pivot. I can select all of the opportunity statuses based on the saved search field and click Make Changes. What this does is it then breaks the bars down by those particular opportunity statuses and displays them right here on the screen. From here, I can do a little bit of moving. I can adjust the legend so it accommodates some of those additional values, and there we go. We have the beginnings of a very nice looking chart. But ultimately what I really want to see is I actually want to see these bars stacked on top of one another. And the way I can do this is I go to the Chart Type tab right here and click Stacked Bar. This will allow us to stack the bars and consolidate some of that extra space that was being taken up by the actual bars sitting parallel to one another instead of stacking on top of one another. So that's a much better looking chart. It's easier to read, can sort of understand exactly what's going on right there. I can then go to the Variables tab again, and I can also add a filter. So this is the fourth and final dimension of the iCharts tool. Let's say I actually want to filter these by maybe a particular month. So I'm going to choose the period. Just like I did for all the other fields, I can just grab this period and drop it right here on the chart. You'll notice that the filters are sort of denoted in yellow. Allows you to sort of differentiate the particular filters from the other dimensions that are existing in the chart. Just like the other aspects of the chart, I can click into it and it gives me all of the saved search values right here on the chart itself. So let's say I just want to look at, maybe I'm curious about the last 3 months of 2014. So I'm just going to do December, October, November. I can click Make Changes, and now the chart will change to just show me December, October, and November. I know it didn't look like a significant change, but you'll see that the scale actually changed on the chart to show you just those 3 periods of time, what transactions were existing there. So that's pretty much it. That's sort of very easily how to create a chart and dashboard right here on your screen. The next part would be to actually save this chart. So I'm just going to save this and call this onboarding chart. And from here, I can select an additional feature that allows me to expose these chart filters right here on the chart itself. So if I choose chart without filters, it will just be what's inside of the chart canvas. If I choose chart with filters, it will display these 4 dimensions for the user to ultimately manipulate the data on the final published product. So I'm going to choose chart with filters and click Save. Now this chart is saved and living inside of iCharts. What I can then do is publish this out to a NetSuite dashboard. I can click Publish and click Publish to NetSuite. This will allow me to select a portlet with which to populate my chart. I'll let this load, and I can call this onboarding portlet and click Publish. And now this chart has been published to that portlet and is available for my NetSuite dashboard.